So today we're going to be taking a look at the Carthus Greatsword. This is a weapon that was requested a little while ago by somebody who saw himself in a match against me in one of my weapon reviews and requested that I use this weapon because it's the weapon that he used. Maybe just analyze it a little bit, see if I can give him any pointers for an upcoming tournament. And I do apologize for the delay. Hopefully your tournament didn't happen yet, but if it did, I do apologize. But I'm going to do my best to give you my tips and my pointers on this weapon because I did find out some unique things about the curved greatsword class. Even though I recently reviewed the Exile Greatsword, this weapon and this class of weapon definitely has some benefits as well as some drawbacks, but you can definitely play to the benefit strengths if your playstyle, kind of aligns with it, so to speak. But before we get started, I just wanted to note that we are using a quality build, and this is a refined Carthus Greatsword. And with that quality build, you can see the entire build in the link in the description, and you can also see it on the right-hand side of the screen once this amazing triple kill finishes. So go ahead and click that link that just appeared on the right-hand side. It should say link to the build video, and it will take you right to the build. Now, onto the actual weapon review. So what makes this weapon good? Well, if you watch my Exile Greatsword video, you know that I talked a lot about the R1 attack arc. There you can see it. It has a very nice kind of horizontally diagonal-esque kind of swing. And as a result of that, you can usually catch a lot of people coming in from any different angle if they're, right in front of you or approaching you. And you can also catch a lot of people rolling in and around you because it has that kind of weird attacking arc. It's easy for you to catch people rolling in to the side of you or even a little bit behind you. And that can really be beneficial for enemies that play really aggressive towards you. You can easily whip that out, force them to keep rolling around you, and if they make a mistake with rolling, or if they're trying to roll around you a little bit too much, you're going to catch them eventually with that R1 swing. Now, something you don't want to do is overcommit like you just saw me do there with the weapon art, and I'll be talking about the weapon art a little bit later because it is very, very useful. But you can see there again using the R1 attacking arc, and with a little bit of delay because you can also do that, it is very, very useful. You can swing out the first R1, delay it a little bit, and your character will readjust and have that amazing attacking arc for the follow-up R1 attack maybe behind you or to the side of you and cover a very large distance. And as you can see in that last clip, we ended up finishing off the opponent with that because he thought he can come in and punish us. Now, with that said, one of the weaknesses that does accompany that R1 attack is the slow speed of it. As you can see, as I'm using it right now, luckily I was able to hyper armor through, which is again one of the benefits of the curved greatsword, but it does have a very slow startup. So if you play super aggressive with this weapon, it's usually not going to pan out too well for you, as more reactive players will easily see the weapon starting up, react to you, and simply just dodge. And then they might be able to punish you as well. So right here, I made a bit of a mistake, but I wanted to see if he was going to overcommit with more attacks. He tried to parry, and as a result, we punished him. And then once again, I played like an idiot and overcommitted and got punished for it, rightfully so. But we did have a big life lead, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But still, if you hit an enemy with 2 R1 attacks, don't be an idiot. I was just bored and trying to be cheeky. But don't be an idiot and then try to follow up with an L2, R2 weapon art because it likely won't work. Now, something else I want to go back to with the R1 standard attack with this weapon, and of course we're two-handing it, is the fact that it does have hyper armor. It's kind of like a medium in between a normal greatsword and an ultra greatsword. It's slow to attack like an ultra greatsword, but it has decent amount of hyper armor like an ultra greatsword does as well. If you can get past that starting animation where your attack is actually swinging down, you're going to come up with your attack. With a greatsword, it's kind of the same, and a greatsword is a little bit faster. But with this weapon, I think the hyper armor frames do last longer. Again, that's just subjective. That's what it feels like to me, because I noticed that with this weapon, I'm able to attack through many more attacks, as you can see right there, than I can when I use greatswords. So I'm sure somebody's going to come and say, put up some numbers or do more research. Listen, I'm a practical player, and numbers can only take you so far, frame data and all that stuff. That's not the kind of player I am. I base things on what works for me in matches, and this is what works. Of course, you can test it further if you want, but this is what seemingly works for me. So the benefit is that it definitely does have some good hyper armor on it, and the weapon, the R1 normal attack, it has a really good attacking arc with the two-handed R1. Now, Again, it suffers with the speed of its R1, so just standing there and using the R1 generally won't do anything, or if you're trying to rush an opponent down and do the two-handed R1 without the running attack, it's going to be easy to react to. So, with that said, what is one of the more effective tactics if you don't want to do a running R1 attack? Well, you can see me kind of doing it. Again, I made a mistake, or not a mistake, but I just played stupid. Is the weapon art. Running up to an opponent and activating the weapon art can be something that's very effective, and it can contest a lot of enemy attacks. And it's something that's amazing to punish enemies with as well. This enemy, you're going to see him play kind of aggressive on me. I noticed he whiffed the first attack iteration of his fist weapon. As a result, I activated my weapon art, and I knew that even if the follow-up L1 attack from his fist weapon there ended up hitting me, because my weapon art already started up, it's going to have its hyper armor frames activated, and I'm still going to be able to connect and complete the entire follow-up. Just like in the, I think it's 2 clips previous now, and that last clip that I just played. I was able to land full combos with the weapon art because of that, and we were able to dish out a ton of damage. As you can see, you normally land, if you complete the full combo, between 650 to 800 points of damage. Here you can see again, I think this is the 3rd clip in a row, where we actually finished off an opponent this time with the weapon art. The other 2 times we didn't finish off opponents, but we still landed a ton of damage on them. So it is something that can be very effective, just running up to an opponent, maybe doing nothing and reacting to them, because once you're able to roll through and see an enemy overcommit or something, you can definitely pick up on a quick punish, especially with that weapon art, or running up to them, activating your weapon art. If you notice them trying to start up a slower attack as well, you might be able to out-trade your opponents, and this weapon can be very effective in that regard for sure. So, playing to this weapon's strengths, it is something that you're going to have to play a little bit more reactive towards, because if you guys watched any of my reviews with normal greatswords, I said it's an excellent weapon to counter rushdown, which means that yes, you will need to play somewhat more reactive. You don't have to play completely reactive, but it is going to benefit a more reactive player. Now, this weapon definitely does benefit you taking the second swing after your opponent, because if you try to take that first swing, again, because the weapon is so slow, your enemies are going to easily be able to roll through it and then play reactive against you. And you definitely don't want to be left cut out in that situation. So, with that said, the running attack can be useful as well. When you're at far distances, and you're going to see me utilize it on this opponent in just a moment. When we're at far distances and you notice your opponent wanting to go in for a running attack, you're going to usually come out with more damage. The running attack on a curved greatsword, and this is one of its biggest strengths, is quite fast. And you are likely going to contest other fast weapons' running attacks. And one of the strongest, if not the strongest, running attack in the game is the katana, especially when two-handed. The Chaos Blade, the Washing Pole, I'm sure you guys have all seen it. The standard, running attack spam. I mean, people call it spam, but usually if you're a good player, you can space it out quite well. And this weapon is an excellent counter to it, especially when you're running at your opponent as well. If you can kind of time your attack to trade off with your opponents, I almost guarantee you, unless they have some insane Leo Ring counter damage, you're going to come out on top with more damage with this weapon's running attack. And that is one of its strengths that you can definitely utilize for this weapon. So overall, I think that this weapon actually does have some decent pros, and it can help you develop as a player by trying out a playstyle that best suits the curved greatsword class, that being looking for your opportune punishes, looking for moments where your opponent makes a mistake, not playing necessarily overly aggressive or overly passive, but still understanding where to go in, when to contest, when to trade, when to be reactive, knowing when to punish, and on the odd occasion, yes, you can kind of rush in there and definitely try to hit out your opponent. If your opponent thinks they can contest you, you can definitely come out on top. So that is my overall analysis of the weapon. Please let me know what you guys think. If you'd like the video, if you'd like the analysis, please drop a like on the video. It does help. Leave a comment on what else you want to see. And check out the channel for more Dark Souls content. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like the other content that I have up there. We have a lot of weapon analysis and build videos and a lot of other stuff. And consider subscribing as well to catch me live streaming and new videos that I post up about other weapons and other mechanics of the game. Thank you again so much for watching, guys. That is it for now. Quantum is out.